Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for March 2025. Okay, guys, here is the major energy shift that we have been waiting for. Of course, on March 29th at 6:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be having our new moon solar eclipse in Aries popping off at 9 degrees. So we have a lot to unpack. First of all, we have to talk about the fact that we have been in this eclipse gateway for a very long time, technically dating back to the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. But realistically speaking, eclipse energies usually start 2 weeks prior and will continue until 2 weeks after. Now, we technically will not have the door officially slammed on this eclipse energy until April 12th, when we have our full moon in Libra energy. Now, we are in this very interesting doorway between endings and beginnings. Of course, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries is closing the door on the last 2 years of personal empowerment. We kicked off this Aries and Libra axis back in 2023. We have been learning essentially the hard way, where we have been having to break away from codependent relationships, really kind of detach from people, places, and things, keeping us stuck into doing things for other people and avoiding the work that we need to be doing within ourselves. Now, this is a breakdown / breakthrough type of energy. And I don't know about y'all, but we have been feeling the intensities build for this particular event. Time has been accelerating. The ascension symptoms have been popping off in a level of intensity that we haven't felt in a very long time. And of course, the new moon, typically speaking, is the dark phase of the moon, which means that we're sitting in all of the feels, all of the funkiness. We're realizing what we're done with. We're realizing where we're banging our head against a wall. We're realizing what it is that we want to move away from. And with this particular energy, just as a new moon does, it helps us to kind of sort out what we don't want to experience any longer for us to create a better alternative. And this is where we start planting the seeds of this new path, of this new direction. But of course, the eclipse energy means that we're being kind of blocked, if you will. We're being put on pause. And we're kind of being hidden, if you will, away from the truth, away from the details, the information, the path, the clarity that we absolutely have been craving. And because this particular eclipse event is closer to the North Node, which of course is now in Pisces energy, we're heading into unknown territory, foreign waters, so to speak. But the element here is that we know that it's got to be better than the situation, the circumstance that we've been sitting in. And so there's a particular level of trust, blind trust at this point, that whatever it is that we're on the path towards, it's got to be good. It's got to be right. It's got to be better. We have to hold that trust very, very strongly through this particular eclipse event, because there's definitely going to be a lot of triggers and activations that are going to have us questioning a lot of things. So as I previously mentioned, this is popping off at 9 degrees. I am going to recommend that if you haven't downloaded your new moon solar eclipse moon guide as of yet, I'm going to recommend you do that. B, if you have your March energy guide available to you, you're going to want to flip to the ending of that particular workbook, because we are wrapping things up. And C, there is an astro class for this particular event. If you'd like to jump over to Patreon, we go through the highs, the lows, the everything in between. Of course, there has been a special eclipse episode for every eclipse that we have been experiencing for the last God knows how long. I'm going to say at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. I have no clue how long I've been doing this. But it's all there for you. And I think that it's very exciting, because this is the final eclipse of this Aries and Libra axis that, of course, we started working on back in 2023. Now, this is a Mars-ruled event, Mars being the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger. Typically speaking, we are in a very weird chapter of this particular astrological calendar. Normally, we come into Aries season, we have that equinox energy, and we hit the ground running. But of course, we have been put on pause by the universe. We have had retrogrades. Of course, I'm talking about Venus and Mercury, and the eclipse energies between the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo and, of course, this new moon solar eclipse in Aries, putting us on pause, and that does not feel good. Mars himself is sitting over in Cancer energy, again, retracing the steps that we were at back in November of 2024. It's been a very long haul. Again, reminder, Mars went retrograde in December, early December of 2024 at 6 degrees in Leo. He backtracked through those Leo degrees, and we kicked 2025 off with Mars retrograding back into the Cancer energy that he does not enjoy being in. However, he's been teaching us some very valuable lessons on who and what is actually worth fighting for. Fighting, defending, protecting what it is that we've already built, what it is that we've already created. He's been helping us to kind of build up our emotional realm, stabilize that emotional realm, and get a grip on what safety and security actually means to us and for us. Now, the interesting part is under this particular eclipse event that Mars has rulership over, he is doing a lot of beautiful work with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, in Pisces energy, and Uranus, the Great Awakener, in Taurus energy. And having these guys kind of working together means that we're in the mood, we have the attitude, we have that warrior type of spirit to burn down the old and to start working on the new. We want to build something better. We want to kind of be inspired and innovative. We want to do things in a much better way. And we are definitely building and cultivating that inner spark, that fire, that flame to push us into a point where we're ready to execute on some of the plans, some of the strategies that, of course, we've been piecing together while sitting on the sidelines, watching things just kind of pop off. So, of course, taking place at 9 degrees, we're in the year of 9. This is a highly significant degree, in my particular opinion, because, of course, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she retrograded at 10 degrees, so within 1 degree orb of this particular activation point. We had Mercury go retrograde at this 9 degree in Aries. And you know what? They're still working through the underworld. Venus and Mercury are retrograde, and they are working together to try and rewrite, reform, restructure, rebuild the heart and the head. And when they go direct, which again won't be until the April 7th for Mercury and April 12th for Venus, until they go direct, there's still a lot of cleansing that needs to be done, healing that needs to be done, releasing that needs to be done, removals that need to be done. And, you know, we already have Venus in this Pisces energy. She's kind of, you know, stripping down and getting bare with the emotions, the emotional baggage, self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem issues, relationship issues, financial issues. And fun fact, Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, is retrograding back into that Pisces energy just hours after this new moon solar eclipse pops off. So that is definitely going to be a very interesting dynamic, considering the fact that the minute that he does that, he meets up with Neptune at that 29 critical crisis degree of Pisces energy. And that is going to be the last aspect that Neptune will be making in that Pisces energy as he is preparing to shift into Aries energy for the first time in 165 years. We have not been alive to see this. We don't know what's going to happen. We have hints, we have clues, but the fact that this particular eclipse event is taking place and kind of in a domino effect, the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of energy that we've been sitting in, very interesting dynamic. So this is the final eclipse of this Aries and Libran axis. And of course, fun fact, we had the solar eclipse take place at 10 degrees in Libra, October of 2024. So this is like directly opposing whatever popped off for you at that particular point in your life. And of course, takes us all the way back to that total solar eclipse that we had in April of 2023 at 29 degrees in Aries energy. And that was a major, major timeline marker for the timeline that we're currently on, which unfortunately is not the highest potential that we could have been on on. But, humanity is the way that it is, and we are going to learn the hard way. That's how humans like to learn. So this is closing the door on the last 2 years of us really getting to know thyself so that we can heal thyself. And it has been a very difficult process. However, we're slamming the door shut. We have a couple of nails. We're going to be hammering this door shut so that we do not go back to the people, places, and things that we fought very hard to get over, to get rid of, to move on from. And this is also serving as a launching point, kind of catapulting us in a new path, in a new direction that we cannot see yet. That's why we have to hold the vision of where it is that we would like to end up. Trust that wherever it is that the universe needs us to end up is exactly where it is that we need to be. So all of the themes popping off here for us under this event has to do with Aries energy, which is about the identity. It's about our personal empowerment. It's about our own personal goals, realizing where it is that we have to kind of start doing things on our own by ourselves to fulfill our own individual soul contracts. Now, that doesn't mean that we're abandoning the people that we love. Doesn't mean that we don't care about the collective, but it does mean that we have to kind of rebalance the energies needed in order to pour into ourselves the way that we've been pouring into other people. And of course, this is going to require a huge level of courage, of bravery on our part. We are breaking away, busting away from a lot of people, places, and things that we found, I'm going to say, a lot of comfort, safety, security being a part of, that now we're kind of free flowing on our own. And, this is a brand new beginning, and it's going to take the better part of the next 6 months in order to truly realize what this beginning is all about. We are going to, over the next couple of days/weeks, be making some very important decisions that are going to help align us with our long-term goals, visions, dreams. We're going to start making some very serious plans. So first of all, I'd like you to think back to 2013 to 2016, because again, that's when we were in this similar type of eclipse pattern with the Aries and Libra axis. And then we go back to 2004 to 2006. And previous to that, around 1987. So if you're old enough, piece together that are the common thread there. There's likely major events that popped off in those particular time frames that kind of help mold you into who it is that you currently are and who it is that you are now attempting to be. And again, we are going to receive a lot of pop-offs, revelations, epiphanies, light bulb moments on where it is that we just haven't been doing what needs to be done to honor our true selves, to live as authentically as we need to be doing in alignment to our heart and soul space. And of course, when we have those realizations, some major changes need to be had in order to kind of give us a little bit of a platform to promote our own soul's growth. Again, we all have individual soul contracts. Many of us have been so distracted with trying to pour into other people that we've been totally just ignoring some of the things that we need to be doing for ourselves. And the scales, so to speak, that's how that Libra energy is alive and well. Those scales need to be rebalanced. So this is a point in time where we're going to be reevaluating the relationship with thyself. Very interesting time. Now, the energy is going to be popping off, of course, definitely going to be popping off. But the impulse to take action, to make moves, is going to be very high, and we have to avoid that at all costs. We also have to avoid jumping to conclusions. We also have to avoid kind of taking action and making moves to push ourselves forward and make some progress. And we also have to avoid doing what we need to do for ourselves without considering the feelings, I'm going to call it consequences, repercussions on other people. Now, that may sound a little bit contradictory because, of course, we're supposed to be putting ourselves first, but we can't put ourselves first in a way that ignores the people that helped us get to a certain point. And of course, ignore the people that we love. We have to balance those scales. This is what the Aries and Libra axis is all about. And so again, in the moon guide, you're going to see all of the different aspects popping off. You're going to see the elemental energies popping off. And even though this is a fire dominant event, we're actually being more controlled, more influenced, if you will, by water energies. There are 5 water energies. We're talking 3 plus Chiron for fire energies. So fire is definitely supporting water. And this is where, again, when you mix fire and water, you have to be very careful of the balance there, because if the fire, which is action and impulse and initiation and beginnings, if the fire is too much, we're going to burn through and boil that water into evaporated nothingness, which is our emotions and our intuition. And of course, if there is too much water and not enough fire, we're going to snuff that spark, that fire, that passion, that courage out. So again, where we're talking about the Aries and Libra axis, and Libra energy is all about balance, we have a lot of rebalancing to do. With all of that being said, we are definitely just going to have to buckle ourselves in and enjoy the ride, even though this is the most horrible roller coaster that many of us have ever been on. We're not even screaming at this point. We're just tired. You know, it's like this never-ending ride that we just want to get off of. And of course, there are going to be good parts coming at us, but we definitely need to get this eclipse energy in our rearview mirror, which in this, Aries energy, typically speaking, we want to rip that rearview mirror off. We don't want to look back. Unfortunately for us, because there are still some very strong placements in Pisces energy, reflection is going to be the name of the game. But reflecting back is actually giving us the bravery, the courage needed in order to never go back there. And because of that, we are going to double down on what needs to be done for us to move on and us to move forward. So with all of that being said, I wish you the happiest new moon solar eclipse that you could possibly have, which is a little bit of sarcasm thrown in there as well. We just have to, again, be prepared for the highs, the lows, the everything in between, and just know that this roller coaster ride is going to come to an end.